What is up, fellow creators? Cody McCarty here to talk to you guys about the RF 70-200 2.8L lens. Before we get too far into that, if you guys are interested in gear reviews, tutorials, productivity tips, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get notified for all future videos. Now let's jump right into this, starting with the physical aspects of the lens. The RF 70-200 is unlike any other 70-200 you've ever seen. It is a full 2 inches shorter and a quarter of the weight of the EF version, and that's without the EF to RF adapter. On the side of the lens, you have a very useful lock button preventing lens creep, which does happen, especially if you're using a Peak design strap. You have an incredible 5 stops of in-lens stabilization that works with in-body image stabilization on the newer Canon bodies. It has a control ring that I personally use to change white balance on the fly. It also comes with a lens collar that is so quick and easy to attach and remove. I don't know why this isn't on every lens that has a lens collar. Now let's go ahead and talk about the optics of this lens, starting with Bokeh, or Bokeh, however you want to say it. I did a quick sample test in my office with some leftover Christmas lights and the camera on a slider. I would never actually set up a shot like this in the real world, but I would use this for interviews with a slider, and it shows you what the Bokeh could look like. You can see that you get some cat's eye effects in the corners. Now this is just at 2.8, the Bokeh rounds out after stopping down to f4, but the biggest reason you're buying this lens is for that 2.8 aperture, so you want to know how it performs, because that's what you're paying for. Now that 2.8 aperture is the #1 reason why this is a staple in so many photographers and cinematographers' bags. There's a few other reasons why, but that is so essential to creating great subject isolation, especially for interviews, talking heads, and portraiture isolation. It also opens up the possibility to shoot in more difficult lighting situations with that flexibility of zooming that you don't get with faster primes or with budget telephoto lenses or even wildlife lenses. Now, in order to test this lens and its low light capabilities, I headed to downtown Orlando where I hung out until the sun set and I captured this. Now before I left downtown, I wanted to just show how this lens handles flaring, so I aimed my lens at this light, and you can see that in video there's a slight flare that looks good. It wouldn't be ideal for photo, but the contrast stays strong with minimal ghosting. So in that regard, I would say this lens handles great. Now for my next shoot, I wanted to really test the autofocus system and see how it did in more difficult lighting situations, so I thought it would be kind of cool to take this to Animal Kingdom and photograph some of the animals. It was a super overcast day, and I don't know if you've ever been, but they simulated a jungle environment for a lot of the animals, so it proves to be a very tricky lighting situation. And to keep your shutter speed at 1/1000 to have a chance to stop like birds in flight or something like that without getting that blur, you really need a faster aperture, otherwise you're going to crank up that ISO to almost unusable levels. I'm very happy to say this lens held up great. Honestly, I was blown away by how good the photos looked. Obviously this isn't a wildlife lens, but it's got some reach that if you're able to photograph larger mammals, or if you're able to get in pretty close to birds, you're able to get some stellar photos. This lens is great for landscape photography as well, and you can really see that with the compression that you get, and this bird is almost in his own little landscape shot right here, and I love the look of that. There's great detail, great color accuracy. All in all, I'm very pleased with this lens and its ability to really blow out that background and create beautiful images. Needless to say, this will be perfect for indoor sports where you have difficult lighting like basketball and, you know, some football, some indoor volleyball, stuff like that. It's going to be a great complement to a sports photographer's kit. If you guys are into doing that, it's obviously not going to have the reach for surf photography or anything of that nature, but it's going to get the job done and do a really good job with lower light situations. It's a great lens. I plan on using it for backpacking and for the occasional wildlife, you know, if I could get that close without disturbing an animal. Now, clearly this lens is a portraiture lens first. It's great for interviews. It's great for blurring that background. But the size of this is insane. It's got some weight, but it's able to be handheld. The image stabilization is perfect for B-roll. I was using everything handheld at Animal Kingdom and I loved it. There's 3 different stabilization modes and I found that 3 was the most responsive for video. I still need to understand better the stabilization modes because I did 3 shots with the 3 different stabilization modes and I didn't quite tell the difference. So if you can see the difference, please let me know. And all in all, I don't have much more to say about this lens. It just feels really good. It's pretty. It's that white color that you really like for your professional lenses. Complements my 15-35 great. All in all, I'm very happy with this lens. I think that's pretty much it for my talk about this. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. Me or Paul will try to get back to you as soon as we can. Look forward to Paul's tutorial coming out on astrophotography and stuff like that when you're doing adventure photography, and a lot more exciting videos coming up. So if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.